Yo, we got Sunny Hippies here on your Pittsburgh radio broadcast and that. How you guys doing? You guys doing alright? Oi, oi, double oi. We're gonna summon Myron Cope and Mike Lang and all the Pittsburgh Mojo for the home opener tonight against the Chicago Blackhawks in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The place is going to be insane with Erik Karlsson's debut here in Pittsburgh. A lot of excitement regenerated for Pittsburgh after Pittsburgh failed to make the playoffs this last year. And they said Sidney Crosby was angry, and they didn't make the playoffs for the first time in 16 years. So the Penguins have been completely overhauled. Not completely overhauled, but they rebuilt around their core. They kept the core together. They did what everyone said they couldn't do last year, and they re-signed Malkin and Letang and kept Crosby, Rust, Raquel. Out goes Zucker. We couldn't keep him, but we got Riley. And now what would you do if I told you that the Penguins would get rid of all the players from last year and in exchange get Erik Karlsson? So if I told you last year the Penguins are going to get rid of all the players they don't want and get Erik Karlsson, the best offensive defenseman of our generation, most scoring defenseman since Brian Leetch 30 years ago, top 10 all time. If we could get rid of Petrie, Granlund, Casey DeSmith, and Jan Ruutu, if we could get rid of these four huge giant contracts, we just like to get rid of these guys because they're old and slow. But say that we could get rid of all these guys and get one of the world's best defensemen to add to the already elite Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. Get rid of these four guys and bring in superstar Erik Karlsson. Well, that's exactly what happened this offseason. And they brought in Nedovic to replace Casey DeSmith, the backup goalie. So Tristan Jarry will be backed up by Nedovic. I believe that to be an upgrade as well. Looking at the Penguins roster, Ryan Graves replaces Petrie. To me, that's a huge upgrade right there. So your defense is going to look like Marcus Peterson, Kris Letang on line one. And then you'll have Erik Karlsson and Ryan Graves on line two. The Ryan Graves is a major upgrade. And then on line three, you're going to have P.O. Joseph and Ruedel. Or you could see Ryan Shea and Ludwig. They just signed a guy named Ludwig. So I don't know. They have four guys and two positions. It's either going to be Ruedel, Sheedle, Ludwig, or Joseph. Joseph appears to have a lock. He's had a great preseason. It could probably be Ludwig, a little toughness. Your line one, Jake Gensel, was a surprise. He was injured, but now he's just healthy enough to play tonight. So you're going to have Gensel in the lineup. Gensel, Crosby, and either Raquel or Rust on the other side. On line two, you're going to have Riley Smith and Malkin. They said Riley Smith's slightly better than Zucker. A little less zany, but more solid all-around player. So Riley Smith and Malkin. And again, Malkin and Raquel and Rust will probably go back and forth depending on who's playing, how they're playing to shake things up or steady it. Line 2 is going to be Lars Auer, and looks like Drew O'Connor made the lineup. They had a lot of people. I thought they might keep Zohorna. They gave him a long look. For whatever reason, they sent him down to preseason. Could be his work ethic. I don't know. Seems to have. Zohorna has all the talent in the world. 1 minute he looks like Mario Lemieux. Next minute he's not scoring for 6 games and gets sitting down to Wilkes-Barre. So nonetheless, you have Lars Auer and Drew O'Connor on line 2. And then line 4, it's going to be Jeff Carter center. Well, I don't know if he's centering, but you have Nieto, Esieri. I don't know these guys, they're new, so, and they also signed a guy, Jansen Harkins. So they said Harkins is a rugged player who can play. But I'll tell you one thing that I want to end on a high note here with this preview. We're going to be playing Bedard. Chicago Blackhawks come to town. They had an off season last year, Chicago, but Bedard is a talented guy whose fans should enjoy watching tonight. So the Penguins will have their hands full keeping him off the board. We hope Tristan Jarry has a good year. But being from Pittsburgh and growing up in Jensburg, we always had Kris Letang, Evgeni Malkin, and Sidney Crosby. And growing up, they would talk about Kris Letang and the Norris Trophy, but it was always Erik Karlsson that would win the Norris Trophy. We're talking this 15-year career now, and going back 15 years ago, and the 3 times Erik Karlsson won the Norris Trophy. Erik Karlsson won, but Kris Letang was always runner-up. So I always grew up the last 15 years as a hockey fan thinking of Erik Karlsson as kind of the better Letang. I love Kris Letang, but Letang's the first to say, he was the first to say, yes, sign the guy. And evidently at All-Star breaks and All-Star games, they would hang out and be friends, and they talked on the phone. Erik Karlsson had a no-trade clause, and Pittsburgh was one of the 5 teams that he's mentioned that he would be willing to go to. Evidently there was a lot of excitement and phone calls back and forth because they suddenly went silent for 3 weeks while the Penguins had to wait and see how much money they had after arbitration with Drew O'Connor. So once arbitration with Drew O'Connor was up, Dubas was able to ship out all the players they didn't want anymore and get Erik Karlsson here. And so growing up, it was my dream that that you would see Letang and Karlsson play together. And tonight, so we're going to see Letang and Karlsson play together on a power play. And I think it's really nice that although Karlsson's the 3-time Norris Trophy winner, Letang's the longtime Penguin, and so Letang's not being benched. Letang is the number 1 defenseman, starting behind Crosby. Karlsson will be behind Malkin, but then on the power play they'll share. Karlsson said he could play anywhere, and actually they all can play anywhere, so it'll probably be Karlsson on the right side, Letang on the left side, and Malkin, Crosby, and Gensel down low. Karlsson said he could play anywhere except in front of the net. So it should be exciting tonight. Blackhawks come to town. This is your Pittsburgh Penguins preview. Thank you for watching. Go Pens.